Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, November 9th, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A courtroom in northern New Brunswick, Canada, erupted in cheers November 3rd after a man has been found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of his 16-year-old cousin. A 6-man and 6-woman jury found Curtis Bonnell guilty after deliberating for about 6.5 hours late Friday, November 2nd, and early Saturday, November 3rd. Family members of the victim, Hilary Bonnell, wept openly in court as the verdict was read. Curtis Bonnell showed no emotion, and members of his immediate family quickly left the courthouse. Outside the courthouse, Hilary's mother, Pam Fillier, sobbed as relatives and friends hugged her. The conviction carries an automatic sentence of life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. However, Judge Fred Ferguson has scheduled a sentencing hearing for November 14th to allow family members of Hilary to read victim impact statements. During the 7-week trial, the Crown alleged that the 32-year-old Bonnell picked up the girl while driving on a rural stretch of road, sexually assaulted her, and killed her. The Lacunar Ojibwe tribe has asked for federal help to investigate a rash of fires that destroyed or damaged religious and spiritual sites this past July. Although the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Wisconsin would not comment because it's now an active investigation, a spokesman for the FBI confirms they have been contacted by LCO officials asking them for help. FBI spokesman Leonard Peace said the suspect arson cases are now under review for possible federal violations. Paul Demain, the CEO of News from Indian Country and IndianCountryTV.com, also lost his temporary home, which was one of the buildings torched the weekend of July 14th. He said this intervention is good news and it's about time. More than 40 military cadets from northern Manitoba gathered in Winnipeg back lane on November 4th to remember Lorna Blacksmith, a former cadet whose body was found there earlier this year. The cadets from Cross Lake, Manitoba, where the 18-year-old grew up, joined her friends and family members for an emotional memorial in a lane along Simcoe Street near the backyard where her body was discovered in June. Blacksmith is one of 3 slain women who Winnipeg police have linked to alleged serial killer Shawn Cameron Lamb. Police have charged Lamb with second-degree murder in connection with the deaths of Blacksmith, Carolyn Sinclair, and Tanya Nepanuk. Members of the RCMP and the Winnipeg Police Service also attended the ceremony in which Blacksmith's spirit was saluted. North Dakota and South Dakota has reached the agreement to work with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe to crack down on sex offenders. The state and tribe will share offender and conviction data, process DNA samples, and advise each other of offenders moving across jurisdictional boundaries. This new agreement will now enable the tribe to put data from its sex offender registry on a national database. The U.S. Supreme Court won't consider Kimberlie Craven's challenge of a $3.4 billion settlement between the federal government and Native American Land Trust beneficiaries. The settlement was reached in 2009 following years of litigation in which Montana resident Eloise Cobell, who is now deceased, argued government officials mismanaged billions of dollars in land royalties held in trust for Native Americans. Court records show Craven's petition asking the Supreme Court to review the settlement was denied October 29th. She had argued the settlement enriched the attorneys who will get around $100 million and the named plaintiffs, led by Cobell. The named plaintiffs' attorneys said on November 7th that 3 other people who have challenged the settlement have agreed to dismiss their appeals in exchange for having their attorney fees and expenses paid. With all 4 appeals having been settled, Secretary of the Department of the Interior, Ken Salazar, has said that he anticipates that payments to Indian class members could go out by the end of the year. The 14th Annual Native American Music Awards that was to be held on November 30th at the Seneca Niagara Casino has been postponed. Ellen Bello, the award's president and founder, has recently lost everything when Hurricane Sandy pushed its way through the East Coast. A committee is being formed which includes Gabriel Ayala, Joanne Shenandoah and Ed Cobell to create a benefit concert for those existing dates in Niagara Falls that will benefit the Bello family. For more information on the upcoming benefit show, you can email namisunite@yahoo.com. Organizers of a mass Get Out the Vote campaign that targeted Native American communities across the country are considering their efforts a success. The National Congress of American Indians led the push. The group pointed Thursday to U.S. Senate races in Montana and North Dakota, as well as voter identification ballot initiative in Minnesota, where it says the Native American turnout made a difference. NCAI Executive Director Jackie Johnson-Pata says that the best indicator was the fact that President Barack Obama mentioned Native Americans during his victory speech Tuesday night. She called that a huge leap for Indian country.
I believe we can keep the promise of our founding. The idea that if you're willing to work hard, it doesn't matter who you are, or where you come from, or what you look like, or where you love. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, or Hispanic or Asian, or Native American, or young or old, or rich or poor, able, disabled, gay or straight. You can make it here in America if you're willing to try. I believe we can seize this future together because we are not as divided as our politics suggests. We're not as cynical as the pundits believe. We are greater than the sum of our individual ambitions, and we remain more than a collection of red states and blue states. We are and forever will be the United States of America. And together, with your help and God's grace, we will continue our journey forward and remind the world just why it is that we live in the greatest nation on earth. Thank you, America. God bless you. God bless these United States.
It's difficult to say at this point exactly how many American Indians and Alaska Natives showed up to the polls, but NCAI officials say Native Americans in New Mexico and Montana were registered to vote at higher rates than any other racial or ethnic group in those states heading into Election Day. It's official, the exclusive Native Threads product will be available in select Wal-Mart stores on November 12th. Check your local Wal-Mart in Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Kansas, Montana, North Dakota, and North Carolina. T-shirts will be on sale for $10.98 and hoodies for $19.74. And for all those not in those states, you can go to nativethreads.com. On November 9th, Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa honored the diverse indigenous communities in the city of Los Angeles during the opening ceremonies of the 7th Annual American Indian Heritage Month. The City of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Native American Indian Commission presented the American Indian Heritage Month opening ceremony themed honoring the valor, traditions, and dreams of our warriors, with a ceremony in council chambers followed by a program and reception on the City Hall forecourt. During the program, the mayor honored the Native American Veterans Association with the American Indian Month Award.
Hello, I'm Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Throughout the year, Angelinos come together to celebrate our city's rich culture and diversity. The city's Heritage Month celebrations showcase the communities that shape the past, present, and future of Los Angeles. There's food, music, and entertainment that's free and open to the public.
Los Angeles, which has the largest urban Indian population in the United States, is the only major city in the United States to create and support the development of a Native American Indian Commission and celebrate American Indian heritage. The commission was created on June 25, 1976, through a joint effort of members of the Los Angeles American Indian community to improve the delivery of federal, state, local resources and services to urban Indian communities. A list of all activities events happening this month are available at culturela.org. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.